So, I don't have my website anymore, but you can certainly get a copy of 10 Days to Faster Reading, and even though the book was printed in 2001, there's still a lot of valuable tips and ideas in there, and you can each chapter has a timed exercise, so if you follow the instructions, you do the exercise, you answer the questions, you will be able to get your words per minute and comprehension that way.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, or you could just read a chapter, you go, "Here," you read 1 page and time it,
you could do
possibly,
that, but
and
you
then you
want
figure out how many
comprehension
word
too. You want
I guess
comprehension
that's
too.
true.
Otherwise,
That's
it's
true.
speed looking.
Speed looking, there we go, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not speed reading.
it's not speed reading. That's really Do you have any cool stories of customers or clients who, besides my story, obviously
Yeah,
doubling my reading speed, besides that, I
yeah.
mean, is that just kind of routine? People say, "Oh, I tripled it, I quadrupled it,
Mhm.
and, now I'm reading 30 books a week." I mean, maybe not that many, but
I think the challenge people had was to keep what they had what they learned in the class because certainly I was there, I was coaching them, but they did it and they had to remember what it is that worked for them and then to apply it in their real world. So that it depended with that. I do remember one guy in particular, his name was Michael, and he came to me because he just was like, I really want to go to business school, but I'm so daunted by all the books that I have to read. And I really am a slow reader. And so the bottom line is he and I worked together. Built some confidence, he built some competence, and then he ended up going to the Wharton School of Business. It was
wow.
amazing. Yeah, and he's doing incredibly well right now, and I'm just so proud of him because, I think, he wanted to and he really took it to heart and he really worked at it and he did what he wanted to do. So, yeah, reading shouldn't prevent people from doing things at all, you know.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's a cool story. Same thing, it's just like when we taught memory training or any
Yeah.
you need to have someone who's genuinely interested in making you
Mhm.
could teach a session for a day, and
Mhm.
then they're gone, and then they're on their own, and so it requires that, and I am guilty, of this, is that I've stopped practicing the speed reading techniques, which is
Mm.
why I'm now remembering the things that you talked about and not having implemented them in the same way.
Mm.
I am faster. I remember though, here's a story for you. I remember I was on a flight on the way home one day, this was years ago, and there was a book I think called Grain Brain, um, that someone was reading, and I was sitting there and I was like, "Oh, that's a cool book." And he says, "Yeah, well, here, you want it?" And he just gave it to me. And on that 2.5-hour flight, I read the entire book. I
Mm.
don't recall it now. I read it entire using the techniques, the
Okay.
car, sentence, paragraph, and then I went back for reading, and I did the entire book. I read it, and I handed it back to him with about 30 minutes left in the flight, and he's like, "You're done reading it?" "Oh, yeah, I love that chapter on this and this and this." I don't recall it now, but I remember at the time, I recalled a lot of that information,
Yeah,
and that was one of the most joyful, confidence building moments that I
I love it.
had. I was so fired up that I was able to, because
It's great.
it took me hours and hours and hours and days to
Mm.
read books, so it's not as inspiring to wanna read it because, "Oh, okay, I have to slog through these books." But I said,
Mhm.
"Let's see how fast I can do it for understanding," and I was I do have to
Yeah,
I think about you often, and that
that's sweet.
moment, I thought about Abby would be really proud of me, and I never got to tell you that, so now I'm telling you
Thank you. I'm so proud of
10
you. I
years,
think
12
that's
years later.
awesome. That's a great story. It really is because that's kinda why I was doing the speed reading training was not for me, it was so that people would build their confidence so that they would feel like they could do whatever they wanted to do with their reading skills. So